9:29 on 3/14. That makes it Pi Day. Now, that's not the dessert kind of pie, but 3.14159 that you may remember from school.
And it's a great way to add a little math into your kids' day by joining it together with some yummy food. Joining us with ways to know how is Dr. Raj Shah from Math Plus Academy. Thanks for being here.
All right, so how many digits can you take pi out to?
To be honest, I know like 4 digits. 3.1415. That's all you need to know.
That'll get you all the way through life on that one.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's discuss first of all, what is pi? Pi?
So pi is just the ratio between the diameter of a circle and its circumference. That's all it is.
It's a number. It's a ratio.
That's it.
And how do we use that?
Any way you want. I mean, you use it to calculate how far it is to go around a circle. I mean, what's amazing about pi, is that every circle, no matter how big, it's a tiny little circle all the way around the Earth, it doesn't matter. If you know the diameter of the circle, then you can figure out how far it is to go around.
So
and that's what's interesting about it.
It's all about doing the math on it. But if you want to do it with your kids, it can actually involve some food.
Or maybe an adult who's not a math person. But I do love food. So, but I think as any kid, you know, food can kind of make things interesting to them if they're not a math person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, everyone is a math person deep down because mathematics is about thinking and problem solving and just asking questions. And I think what happens is we have this universe where kids are so used to answering what is questions. What is 2 plus 2? What is pi out to 8 digits or whatever? And it's all about this knowledge and getting answers. But what if we started asking more like what if questions?
Okay.
And so I think it's great if we can get parents to ask more what if, and just engage their child in conversation. So there's no fear of wrong answers or feeling bad about stuff.
All right.
So what if we had an apple pie?
We happen to have one.
What would we do with that?
So if you're cooking and you're making apple pie or whatever it is, and you're measuring
So if you're
things
measuring
out,
cups.
absolutely, right? Of course we can say, you know, if I'm going to double this recipe, how many of this am I going to need or whatever. But what if we did something crazy like, what if you only had a half cup and a third cup? What are all the things you can measure with that?
Okay.
Can you measure out a whole cup? I don't know. Can you measure out 2 2/3? So just getting your kids to have that conversation and think about it. Yeah. And okay, your child says, oh, I don't know, fractions, I'm scared of fractions. That's okay. What if it's a 1 cup measure, a 3 cup measure, and a 5 cup measure? So now we're dealing with numbers we can understand.
I also
Can you measure out 2 cups?
I think it's also visual too, because some kids are visual learners, and sometimes when you see things on a paper, it can be overwhelming because math can look scary on paper. But food's not as scary. It's kind of fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
So if I wanted to cut exactly the right number of pieces in that pie, could I use pi to make that happen?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Now,
I would just use a knife.
that would be easier.
Yeah.
See, that would be the easy way. We never want to do it that way. I see some very interesting pizza slices here.
Yeah, so moving on from pie circles, we're going to talk about pizza circles,
Okay.
right? And when you cut a pizza, oftentimes they cut them into wedges, right? Straight across. And what happens when you do that is you get all pieces that are the same size, right? They're exactly the same shape. You get these little wedges, right? But some places like to cut pizza like this.
And they're all different sizes.
And they're all different. And, you know, people love these little corner pieces. I don't really know why, but they do, right? It's like this universal thing about corner pieces. But these aren't all the same, right?
Right.
So now, again, we can ask our kids a what if question. What if you were trying to cut this thing into other shapes where all of them would be the same?
And that's what you have here?
And that is what I have there.
So how did you figure out how to cut these?
So I'm not going to lie to you, I did not figure that out. But believe it or not, mathematicians goof around with stuff like this. Like, how many ways can we cut pizza?
They're like wedges.
Yeah, right? And
But
they're all the same.
They're curvy wedges.
Absolutely. So now we can ask our kids, are there other ways? And I actually had this conversation with my son yesterday because I was explaining to him this idea, and he's like, oh, like a yin-yang.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You've cut the circle into 2 equal things, but they're not, they're kind of neat shapes, right?
They curl around each other.
Yeah. So that's one example. This is another. And like I said, believe it or not, mathematicians do this stuff just for fun. And this isn't what is, how many pieces, or what's 17 plus 27. It's
Pizza?
just mess around.
Sure,
In an
thank
equally divided piece.
There you go. We should all,
This
we
I
should all
understand.
have
for sake of our
pizza.
same
This
size pieces.
is what Pi Day is really all about. 3.14 on March 14th.
Celebrate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.